Yeah. All right, let's get this right. We have a special guest. Special guest. You know what? This guest is so special. Hold on. This is what I have to do. I'm gonna pause it. And I have to bring her on and give her this introduction. I can't do it without her on the live. I don't even know if people can see the live. The guests can see the live while they're in the chat room or while they're in the guest room. I'm so new to this. I have to ask when she hops back on. But we're going to bring on Angela, the card collector girl, and we're going to get this started. I don't want her waiting in the room too long. All right, here we go. Screen click. Bam. Angela, the card collector girl. How are you doing? Thank you for making time to be off the checklist. How are you? First and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, but I'm good.
Good. Good is good. Good is good. We'll go with good. For those of you who don't know, this is, like I said, Angela at the Card Collector Girl on Instagram. She is a Green Bay Packer fanatic, right? Right. That's safe
Yes.
to say. Okay. All
Yes.
right. She's also been Woman of the Week. I'm pretty sure multiple times, right? If you all are familiar with Women of the Hobby,
Yeah.
very important platform of the hobby, right? To highlight women. Very, very important space in the hobby that we're
Mhm.
going to talk about. You've been highlighted there several times. You've been talked about on several other platforms about your collection and just a human
Mhm.
being you are, how important you are to the pulse of the hobby, specifically, not just specifically to the women, just overall to the hobby, because we're in this together. We can't separate
Yeah.
men and women. We're in this together. So just how important you are, and we all are. Mike Jones said, "What's up?" early on. So Angela, thank you for being on. The
Yeah.
first,
Thanks
the
for having
first
me.
of course. Sorry for not having you on earlier. You know what I
Ah.
mean? But before I ask you the question, I ask everybody else. I want to let you know why it's important for me and for us, Rip Pack and Slab, to have women on our platform and to be intentional about it. All
Mhm.
right. And I'm going to try and make it quick, but because I want this to be about, this is about you, but I want to let you know why it's important that you're on here. And it's an honor for us at the same
For
time
sure.
and anybody else who'll be watching this too. Um, we started together, Rip Pack and Slab, into the hobby, creating together August 2020, right? And that was during the pandemic. I'm the dean of
Mhm.
students at a K through 8. So during the same time, I was teaching and educating via remotely at home, right? And I was trying to find up a creative curriculums and different ways to introduce kids to different things. And at the same time, my daughter would walk into my office, my garage space, and she would look at all my cards and look at all my toys because I collect Marvel Black Panther figures, and I have
Yep.
a lot of women figures there too. I have all the Sherry's, Nakias, all that, right?
Nice.
But my collections were majority men, right?
Mhm.
And when I would teach in school, the majority, even though when I my approach in school is always trying to be down the middle. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I had to hold a mirror up to my face and say, you're not down the middle because I think you're still being lenient or teaching more of what you're comfortable with, and you're not
Right.
going outside of your comfort zone and learning more about women. So the hobby was a way for me to not only honor the women, my mother, my grandmother, my daughter, and all the women who help the women in my life who help shape the way I
Yeah.
am, but also honor the women on these cards who help shape history, right? And
Mhm.
I got to learn about them with my students. And shout out Cindy Dick at Giant Legends, an amazing collector. She's the one who actually taught me about a lot of these African American women and women of color and all types of women from the 1950s and 1800s who did historic things who aren't talked about, whose cards have super short print compared to cards today that people go crazy about. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
So it was intentional for me. And back in November, December in clubhouse rooms, I would start rooms, women, trying to get women into the hobby, But my approach wasn't right. Some women would come in, you know what I mean? Or maybe I
Yeah.
wasn't the guy to do it. And, but at the same time, as it's shown, women are doing exactly what they can and have always done, and that's lead, right? There are
Yep.
women who've come and they are leading the way. They don't need a man to do anything except move out the way and let's share this space together. So
Exactly.
the women can add value and create. So it's important for us to share this platform with women like you. So you can add value not only to our platform and our community, but to others who are watching at the same time. So thank you
Awesome.
very much for this. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, so about you now. We always ask this to our
Mhm.
guest. If you can choose one person or a group of people to give their own card to, their own 101. Somebody that you want to honor today, somebody who's near and dear, special to
Hmm.
you. However you want to honor them, it can be one person, it can be a group of people. Who would that person be and why? And that's just today. Next time we
Yeah.
talk, you can honor somebody else. But who would that person or people be and why?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go with the person that got me into sports cards in the first place, and that would be my stepdad.
Okay.
Because so I was a Packers fan when my parents met. He and my mom met, and I didn't follow them super close. And I'll explain how I became a Packers fan. So um, when they won the Super Bowl, my brother, my stepbrother at the time, wanted to make a bet. So when they're playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and I was like, I don't know, 8, 9 or something. And
Yeah.
so obviously he had already picked his team and knew more about football than I did. So he'd picked the Patriots. And so I was stuck with the Packers. And then they won. I never got paid. We like bet our allowance. He never paid me back. But from that, and then they went to the Super Bowl next year, and so I just kind of was like, I'm kind of a Packers fan. And then my mom met my stepdad now, Ray, and that was like the one thing we that kind of connected us. I was like, "Oh, you're a Packers fan. I like the Packers, and I want to be a fan." And so, yeah, and then showed me his card collection, and yeah, like it just kind of went from there. The obsession began. So it's just kind of so I'd have to put him first on a trading card. And my cat wants to also talk.
Shout out. What's your cat's name?
Dragon.
Dragon. What's up, Dragon?
Yeah.
I always see Dragon on your Instagram stories
Oh
too.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Dragon is family. What's up, Dragon? Yeah, my puppy name is Hobby, so he'll probably be coming in here scratching on me in a little bit. I say puppy, but he's 90 pounds already, so
Yeah.
it's
My
crazy.
dog. I had to send her outside because she'll bug me. But I have a German Shepherd too. So
Ooh, yeah, I have a rot lab mix. 8 months old today, I think, or in a couple days.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, she's a big dog.
Big guy, big guy. Yeah.
So
So, okay, I like that you said that. That's special. That's important. How you
hmm
put your stepfather on that card, right? That's
yeah.
important for me because I think that's cool. That's a cool dynamic. While my mother and father are still together. I'm 39, so it's 40
Hmm.
years. They're still together.
Yeah.
Shout out them. It
Yep.
hasn't always been peachy,
Congrats.
but
No.
shout out them. But at the same time, I'm divorced, right? So my
Hmm.
my kids are have that experience or have to experience that stepfather
Right.
stepmother type of dynamic at the same time. And for you to and I
Hmm.
also have a school community that deals with that experience a lot too. So for you to share that dynamic and how you all made that positive, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
a positive relationship
Hmm.
during those times, different times is cool. What age were you at that time, if you don't mind me asking, when you started collecting when with your stepfather?
Um, that would have been probably like 1998. So I'd have been like 10, 11.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So fourth, fifth grade around there, or something like that.
Yeah, I
Sixth
suppose
grade
so.
around
Be
there.
about fifth or sixth grade.
Okay,
I'd have been.
okay. All right, cool,
So
cool, cool. So what
yeah.
else were you doing in fourth, fifth, sixth grade? What else were you doing? Like, what were your
Oh my
hobbies other than
gosh.
that?
Um, trying to think. Probably video games would have been
What
that.
kind? What kind of
Uh,
video
I
games?
probably had a Sega Genesis CDX,
Oh,
Sega CDX, and then eventually got a Nintendo 64 when that
okay.
came out. Um, yeah, so
So
that's
Mario
probably
Kart,
I don't know.
Zelda. What's your type of game?
Um, anything with a good storyline, honestly. Could have bad
Facts.
graphics. I don't care as long as it plays and it's a good storyline. I'll take it. And then obviously I'm competitive. Mario Kart, Smash Bros.
Smash
Play that
Bros
too.
for sure. Yeah, we'll play
Yes.
that. We play that now on the. I'm so bad with these systems.
Switch.
Switch. Thank you.
Yeah. You're
Woo.
welcome.
I was gonna say we. I was gonna say we, and I knew I was wrong, but I felt right. I'm horrible. I just
That's
get
all
it
right.
for him. Yeah, I'm horrible. So around 10 years old, you were
Hmm.
collecting cards. You were playing video games. Did you like to play outside a lot? Did you play?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, then we used to live
Where'd you grow
out
up? Where?
Rapid City, South Dakota.
Okay.
So we had lived out of town, so we had like 10 acres, growing up. So I was outside a lot in the summer and stuff. Didn't have like neighbors really close, so I kind of
Right.
just did my own thing. Um, and then moved into town. I probably ended up staying inside more and playing video games more after that. But I didn't really collect anything. Like I kind of collected some comic books.
Okay.
Like I always like sports cards always like made sense to me. Collecting made sense to me because I don't know, I saw value in that. And so like there's some like and by comics I mean like Looney Tunes comics, like they weren't anything collectible, but at the time I've just always kind of had that mindset. It's always kind of been who I am, I guess. And so
Okay.
card collecting I think just naturally like I was just naturally drawn to doing that.
Okay. Okay. So
Mhm.
outside of your stepfather, during this time when you were a young lady, were there any other superheroes or human beings that you looked up to that were either on card or on TV or or on the radio that you were like, man, I want to be like them, or that you admired or looked up to?
um I would say like Brett Favre was my like I was obsessed with Brett Favre
Right
for a
from the
while. Like
start
I
at 10 years
had
old? At
yeah,
10
oh
years
from the
old?
start, yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's go,
Because like
Brett.
I had a whole binder I still have just of Brett Favre cards. Not as
Nice.
big a fan of him now, but
Right.
uh things change. But that was probably the number one thing. I didn't really get into like superhero movies or anything like that at that time. There really wasn't much of that. And then being grown up and having like superheroes like Wonder Woman and all that be kind of in the forefront right now, um, I realized like that was missing, and I'm so happy that that's out now. I love seeing like strong women because I've always been a tomboy. Um, and I've never been my mom tried so hard, bless her heart, to like get me in dresses and stuff and whatever, but I just never like from day one, I've just kind of been, kind of been a tomboy about that stuff. And
Right.
so, but then I kind of realized like never really saw a lot of strong women, and so to see kind of that shift right now. I know some people it's like, oh, it's now there's another woman superhero, but I'm like, there's not a lot of them
Right.
that are out there. And so I didn't really, other than, yeah, I would say a lot of it was men. And then obviously my mom too was, up there as a superhero. But other than that, I didn't really have one.
And that's crazy because I just learned this probably late 2020 when I was on Giant Legends page,
Hmm.
and there is a woman. What's her name? Haiti Stewart in 19. I mean, sorry, excuse me, 1850 something.
Hmm.
Right? She was a world class wrestler. She used to beat dudes up. So talk about just strengths, because back in that
Yeah.
time, the idea of strength in women, up and even until today, right, which is
Hmm.
sad, it's not looked at the same, right?
Yeah.
So just imagine though that women have been strong all this time and been
Hmm.
doing the same thing men have been doing, and even better in some
Yep.
instances, you know what I mean? But still
Yeah.
haven't been given the value and the honor and the appreciation, as
Right.
every human being deserves. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So that just made it stand out to me. I wanted to drop that fact out
Yeah.
there.
No,
Somebody can
that's
go look
cool.
at that Haiti Stewart card.
Yeah.
That's her name. It's
That's crazy.
1848 or 58, I believe. Yeah, she was a
I'll
world
have to
class
look into
wrestler
that.
and boxer. Yep, and she actually
Really.
has a card, a postage stamp card.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to look her up. I haven't heard of her.
I mean, you
But
wouldn't, you
yeah.
wouldn't, you wouldn't, right?
Right.
You wouldn't, because when we don't retell these stories the same way we tell them in the men's division. Like, I didn't
Hmm.
know Arthur Ashe wasn't the first black guy to do it in
Yeah.
tennis. Like, I didn't know that.
Right.
It-
Me either.
right? You know what I mean? So it's just alarming, the history. Okay, so back to you,
Hmm.
because you are the history. You are our ancestors, right? We
Yeah.
are our ancestors. So you were collecting as a girl. You fell in
Hmm.
love with Brett Favre, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure, like all of us, there was a gap where you stopped collecting. Right? Is that a safe
Yeah, it
assumption?
seems that's
Okay.
a pretty safe assumption.
Okay, so before we go into that, I missed
Hmm.
something important that I wanted to
Okay.
touch on. As you were collecting, well, first, um, with your stepfather, being on,
Hmm.
did you live on a farm, or was it a farm, or just a
Uh,
acres,
now
acres? It's
It was like
acres.
10 acres. Yeah, like we had a
Living
few
on 10
horses.
acres,
Yeah.
right? Bonding with your stepfather,
Mhm.
all these things that you like to do. What were some of the feelings that these cards gave you when you were spending time, feelings and emotions that these cards gave you when you were spending
Mhm.
time with your stepfather?
Um, it's a good question. I don't know. Like I remember before they were married, like I'd go when we'd go to his house, I would look through he had like a Packers room, so I'd look through that stuff and I'd look through his cards every single time and whatever. And he's given me most, if not all of them now. But I don't know. It was just kind of cool. Like, I don't know. There's just a bonding experience, I guess,
Right.
like just a connection that be like, this card is cool, and being able to look through them and talk about them and just having conversation about whatever. And then there's some cards that he did give me that they'll never leave my collection. That he met Bart Starr because he went to, he won some sweepstakes with Shopko at the time, which is out of Wisconsin, I think, is where Shopko's from. And but anyway, he entered a sweepstakes and he ended up winning and going to Green Bay on this experience where he met a bunch of older players, some of players then at the time, met Bart Starr and he's got stuff signed by him. And um like that was a special time for him that I got to experience, through his story and his experience. So um, yeah, I don't know. It'll always be nostalgic for me, I guess.
I like that. That's dope. That's dope. Like you said,
Yeah.
the bonding, that feeling. I'm pretty sure joy.
Yeah.
I always remember flipping through people's binders that weren't mine, and just
Yep.
always, especially being able to flip through it time and time again,
Mhm.
even if it was over time, every other week, every other
Yep.
month, every year, going back to that same spot and flipping like, wow, he still has these cards, or he's collecting more. So that was
Yep.
always dope. So talk about now, and thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, so now after you were collecting, you were a young girl. What made you stop? Why was there a specific thing that made you
Yeah.
stop, or what was it?
Um, well, it like not I didn't have friends who collected. And
Hmm.
so, but my friends, and I've joked about this before, that my friends still are like a bunch of, 40-year-old men. Uh, and so, but there was a shop that like I could walk to within walking distance in Rapid City. It's called Sound Bites. And like the owner there, I don't know what it was. I don't even know I don't can't remember the first time I went in there. I don't remember how I even found out about it. It was probably my stepdad said something. And so I went down there and he had a section for just cards and then he had like record CDs. It was a music store too. And I don't know. I probably, being a girl walking into the store, you probably didn't see many at that
Right,
age by
right.
themselves. I would go by myself and I'd ask questions, and he just, uh, I don't know, I found a little community there. There would be a couple of trade nights, but they were all older, like had married and had families, and I'm like 12, 13 at the time. And so I was into it for a while, like really hardcore into collecting, buying, going through whatever cards. And then I don't know. I just, that I didn't have the people around me that really collected, and I just lost interest. I kind of saw that they were kind of going away, and so I just stopped collecting eventually. It's probably around, I think I found some cards like from like 2004 ish. 2005, I think, is really when I stopped kind of collecting altogether.
Did you pick up any other hobbies, or were you doing any other things
Yeah.
what
So,
to
I
spend your
mean,
money on during that time?
yeah, I mean, I was in high school by then, so I was like in basketball, track,
Okay, okay.
and then my freshman year, I started playing guitar, so I had started taking lessons. So that really took up a lot of my time. Guitar and Madden.
Video games. Back to the
Yeah,
video games,
guitar,
right?
guitar and
Shout out
Madden.
John Madden. Shout out
Yes,
John Madden.
yes.
I think a lot of us can say that. For me, it was around that same time. I'd say I was collecting since I was 9, 10 years old. I still have the
Mhm.
first set that I collected with my father, right?
Yep.
When I was 9, 10 years old. It was 1990, 91 Fleer. I have
Mhm.
like four different full sets of them, right? In binders and in boxes. And I've pretty much collected my whole life, but I started collecting less right around middle school, high school, because like you said, that's not what many of my friends were doing. They
Right.
had stopped doing it. It wasn't cool enough. So while I still liked it and enjoyed it, I called myself a closet collector. And I had a
Yes.
horrible experience in middle school where a lot of my friends came over for a slumber party and they
Oh no.
stole my cards and tried to like sell them to people the next few weeks at school and stuff.
Oh,
So
for
that
reals.
traumatized me and really make me keep my collection at a young age. Like
Yeah,
when I got to high school, I was
you're
like,
like,
I'm never showing people my cards. You know
that's
what I mean?
crazy.
So,
Yeah, right.
so I'm joking about it, but it's probably serious. The
Yeah.
reason why I still don't share my cards today is because of that right there.
Yeah, you're like,
But yeah, like no, no, you did. I trusted you, and my mom invited you over. Where we
yep.
play together all the time, and you steal my cards. But that's what kids do. I
Yeah,
love all of them to death today. You know what I mean?
that's good.
Yeah. Um, I stopped collecting, got into sports, you know what I mean? So I wasn't as
Hmm.
heavy into it,
Yeah.
but I always
Like it's
would
always in the
find
back of
myself
your mind.
yeah, or find myself if I'm at a store and I see cards, I'd
Yep.
always go to a LCS, my local LCS every few months or something like that, just to, you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? I have a spark to collect or go. Oh, this is what would do it. Every time the NBA playoffs would start. It,
oh
it
really?
never it never phases. If you go through my Facebook and all my Instagram for years, you'll see the only time I consistently was posting cards before
Hmm.
2020 was during the NBA playoffs because I'd
Really?
always relive like,
Somehow.
oh, look
Yeah.
at I remember that as a kid, especially as an adult. So
Yep.
for you, when did you come back in? Like, when do you say you straight dove right back into it?
A lot of people are gonna hate this answer, but Gary
Mhm.
V.
Hey, hey! Shout out Gary V. Shout out. They shouldn't hate it. They should love it if
I
they're a part of the
know.
hobby. They should love it. They
Yeah,
should love it.
and so I always like thought about cards. I was like, man, I wonder if there. I would look up once in a while. I didn't know how much like the hobby changed, like Panini getting into the game and all of that. So I would, and once in a while, I would just look up on eBay or just trying to find any info on cards and maybe what I used to have that was packed away in storage and I couldn't find it. And then, there's always I told somebody there's always like three cards that I still think about to this day and I want to have in my collection. It is the Walter Payton rookie, which I have now, the Bart Starr rookie, and then Aaron Rodgers tops Chrome Gold rookie, which I don't know if
Ooh,
I'll ever have, but that one's out of 50. So I just always like
ooh.
that's always just like been in my mind. So I've thought about it for years, ever since I stopped collecting. And then Gary V had just mentioned something. This was like because I got into listening to Gary V probably the year before, uh, and then he mentioned one time like cards that he's like they're kind of getting back in, just in passing, and I started looking things up, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, and it kind of gave me permission to like seek out. I didn't even know we had a local card shop. I don't think we did until a couple years ago.
Right.
And so I looked that back up, and I went and bought a box of 2018 NBA hoops. Um, and just yeah, the obsession was reignited.
That's what did it for you right there.
Yep.
The cars that you named, one of them, the second you named one of them, I
Yes.
jumped up and I sparked and I was listening, but I
Yep.
was listening, but I had to search because I knew I had something right there. And it's not the gold Aaron Rodgers. So, first of
Yeah.
all, it's not an Aaron
Okay.
Rodgers,
Yep.
but it is a player from that same year that I used to PC. So,
Oh,
I
really?
feel comfortable sharing it with you.
Yes.
And it is the gold. It's the 1 out of 50 Adam Pac Man
Ooh.
Jones.
Yes. That's awesome.
And and believe it or not,
He
I
was
started
fun.
PC and Pac-Man not because his name was Pac-Man. It had nothing to do with it.
Right.
No, really, seriously.
Yeah.
When I found out that he had adopted Chris Henry, his late great friend's
Yes.
children, when I
Yes.
found that out, I was like, oh yeah, now I'll collect him because his name is Pac-Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the real reason
But
why, because
that's cool.
that meant something deeper to me than anything. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I want a piece of that. So I have a
That's
whole
cool.
bunch of 2005 short
Oh,
print Adam
awesome.
Pac-Man Jones cards. So
That's very cool.
we're kind of like cousin collectors because you're
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
2005
Totally.
Aaron Rodgers, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'll keep a lookout for you if I ever see anything 2005 Aaron Rodgers.
I'll take it.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, but shout out Gary V. I know a lot of
Hmm.
people are going to talk about him as they can. You're allowed to
That's
like
fine. He
who
knows a lot. A
you.
lot of people know him. So
Yeah, yeah, right. But I remember when my brother actually ran into the garage in like 2018, 2019, and
Hmm.
I didn't know who Gary V was, and he
Right.
ran into the garage and said, "Pete, there's this guy talking about cars the same way you talk about cars because I've been collecting sealed wax for since like 2012,
Okay.
2013." Because that was I used to tell my brother like in 40, 50 years the sealed wax is gonna 4x.
Yeah.
I didn't know in 8 years it was going to
Right.
300x. You know what
Nobody
I
did.
mean?
Nobody did.
Nobody, but my brother came in thinking that I just was the prophet. You know what I mean? Because here I am my whole life, and then also my best friend Trail Spreetail, shout out Spreetail, just dropped an album, a hobby album EP. Just was always my best friend that would rip with me when nobody else wanted to back in the day
Hmm.
in 2012, 2013 when I was still a closet
Yep.
collector, but
Class.
I wasn't out there with it. I'd be in my
Yeah.
garage, I'd buy boxes, we'd rip to collect, to chase.
Hmm.
I didn't know that I didn't know people were selling cards for money. I'm naive, I'm
Yeah.
ignorant in many ways until really 2018, 19. I'm not going to lie to you. I
Yeah. I
didn't
would say the same.
like I
Like,
knew it because there was Beckett's and price guides,
yep.
and I used to check price guides, but I didn't know the extent of it
Hmm.
and the amount, and you know what I mean. I didn't. It
Yep.
was, and I didn't care. And honestly, I still don't care.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
weird. I can go to a card show. Like I went to a card show before, and people have put valuable cards in my hand, and they expected a different reaction from me.
You're
And I'm
like,
not gonna
cool.
like it's cool. Like, right, what can you give me a story behind the card, or
Right.
like make
Yep.
it make sense to me because it's still a piece. It's just a piece of paper right now.
Right.
Like I know there's more to it, especially if I don't know anything about the card. You know what I
True.
mean?
Yeah. I'm not like, I have to be interested in it to want it, you know.
Yeah. So do you? I take it you watch a lot of sports too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Mostly football religiously.
Okay.
And then I'll watch basketball. I don't I can't get into baseball. I love going to a baseball game and
Hmm.
eating a hot dog.
Okay.
And then I um I've gotten into soccer and hockey. And those two are ones that, so I had a friend who was an announcer for the local hockey team, and he explained hockey to me. And I was like, oh, no wonder why these guys want to fight. I'd want to punch him too. And so I'll follow hockey not too closely. I used to be a Avalanche fan, so that was kind of cool that they won this year. And then soccer, I've gotten into that, like the World Cup and stuff, but
Right.
not too. I don't know enough about that, and it's kind of one of those things that I don't have time at this point. But yeah, I like sports.
That's all right. Yeah, football's cool. Football's cool.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. You excited for the upcoming football season?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yep. I feel
What do
I
you?
feel I feel good, as we all do at this time of the year, because nobody's
Whenever you
lost
have
yet.
Aaron Rodgers, yeah, but whenever you have Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
leading the way, you
Yeah.
have to feel good because you know you're going
Yes.
to be playing deep into the playoffs, and it's going to
Yes.
come down to that last drive on that last play
Yeah.
all the time. You know what I mean? Or you're
Mhm.
just going to win it. So
Yep.
y'all going to be good. It must be a fun ride being a Packer fan.
It is. I'm just enjoying it now, and I know the realities of, unless Jordan Love, he could be the next, maybe we get lucky, 3 quarterbacks in a row, and I just never have to suffer what my stepdad suffered and those fans back in the, what, 70s, 80s.
Right. Right. So, all right. So now that's a good segue into the cards because I wanted to talk a little bit
Mhm.
about card shows and things like that, and what you
Yeah.
like most about the hobby and highlight things like
Mhm.
that. But you had mentioned Jordan Love, and I have a
Mhm.
question that came to my head. And so Jordan Love has rookie cards,
Yep.
right? And
Yes.
he's dressed in Packer uniform,
Correct.
but he never dressed a single game in a Packer uniform.
Yes.
So is that weird or odd, or do we just look that over and just pass it up? I know photoshopping is cool. I know it's not the first time it's done.
Right.
It's done in basketball, but I mean,
Yeah.
why? I get why there are times where first they said COVID, but they do it with or without COVID.
Yeah, because I guess yeah, they didn't have the rookie premiere, so all of his would be Photoshop, wouldn't they? I'm
Yeah.
gonna be honest, I don't own a single Jordan Love card. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I don't like buying hype. So sometimes I have before, but I've usually gotten more cautious about that. But I don't like he's not going to be
Oh,
playing anytime soon, so I just haven't like I haven't even seen him play hardly on the field. So I don't know. I guess I
you,
don't have that much faith in him.
that's I felt that coming, Angela. I felt
I
that
know,
coming.
we'll see. It's
You,
his third year. Could be, he had a good practice yesterday. Could be
he's
the year.
learning from the best. He's
Yeah,
learning
and
from
he's
the
learning
best
from
for
this.
sure.
You know what? Rogers wasn't that great in his first 2 years, so yeah, I'm gonna give the kid some credit. But I
Right.
actually was just thinking about it the other day. I was like, I should just, get a couple Jordan Love cards, but I feel like they're still priced too high for not even suiting up for a game. So
They're
we'll
priced
see.
too high now, but
Yeah,
when that time comes and he is the one, or maybe the
yeah,
one to take
yeah,
over,
yeah.
the price is gonna. Then I
It will, but I mean, we'll give it to. We'll see where it's at. Mid
right,
this season. See
right.
if it drops off or not. So, but we'll see.
Okay, okay. So card shows,
Hmm.
national. I know we missed the national this
Yes.
time around. Have you been to a
It
national
sound
before?
no, I've never been.
Okay.
But from what I've heard, I think it's okay. We missed this year's.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, and there'll
So
always be more. That's a good thing about the Nationals. There'll always be one next year,
yes,
right? God willing, there'll always be one next year. So we
correct.
good that way
Yeah.
for sure. And even if they have to postpone it a year, it'll be the following year or the following
Yes.
month or whenever it's safe to do so. There will be another national.
Yeah.
What? So when you do attend your first national, or when you attend card, have you attended card shows before? Right?
Yes. So there's. I don't know if it's happening right now. It might not happen through the summer, but there's one like uh every first Saturday of the month here. And then there's one that happens once in a while in Fargo, so that's like 2.5 hours from me. Otherwise, there really isn't much in the area. I went to a couple like in the 90s, late 90s when I collected. Um, but yeah, otherwise, I just haven't gotten around to getting to many,
Right.
especially
Right.
with COVID and because I probably would have gone to the national in 2020 if COVID didn't happen. But
Right.
so
I actually think it's cool. I don't think COVID's cool at all, but I like
okay,
the
good.
way that humans were able to utilize that time and find other ways to
Yeah.
include themselves into communities and
Hmm.
spaces and be creative. And I value and enjoy every collector, even those who are at home from their
Yeah.
couches, from their living room, from their cars, from their offices, adding value in the way they do. Every dollar
Hmm.
counts, every
Yep.
minute, every hour counts, every connection counts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as I've been to card shows and I love card shows, I love toy conventions, comic cons, all that
Hmm.
stuff. I love how now today you don't have to leave your home to feel like you're a part of that
Right.
community or a part of a community. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I think that dynamic's cool. But what
Hmm.
are you looking forward to when you go to card shows or when you go to the national? Like, what's if you had a top three or top two things you would be looking forward to? What would they be?
I like just the different things you'll find. Like the unique cards, stickers, whatever there's nothing you can't find at like especially the national and just finding things I don't know and haven't seen before like in person rather than just looking on eBay or scrolling through pictures, that kind of thing. So um with that and then there's a little bit of the uh kind of the hustle and flipper. Like I want to go and I want to like trade some cards and just find some deals or whatever that may be. Just the to experience that because I don't know that that's fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
Putting in a little bit of work and looking through things. So that's what I want to do. Here it's hard because it's like I see the same thing. It's like the same stuff all the time because it's a smaller community. But so yeah, I really want to start making it outside of here in my city. So yeah.
That's exciting. That's
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's exciting. That's out of my comfort zone. I'm looking forward to some of those same things, and though a lot of those things are outside of my comfort zone. As
Mm.
much as I am comfortable being silly and crazy
Right.
and talking and communicating, there are still new things that are uncomfortable that I'm going to try and attempt, but still
Yes.
uncomfortable going into it, and sometimes it frightens the heck out of me. Right? So
Oh, I don't blame you.
yeah, especially sometimes in the settings. it's not always the most comfortable. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Well,
and I,
being a girl in a male-dominated setting
yeah,
is
that
never comfortable.
so I,
So,
that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I can only imagine
yeah.
what it feels like. Can you speak on that? But I
Yeah.
want to go to the chat. But before we go, because there's
Yeah.
been a lot of people showing love. They've been in and out. I got to do a better job of
Okay.
making sure we see that. But can you talk about that right there, just the feelings and
Mhm.
emotions and that about yeah, being a woman in the hobby. And you
Sure.
made a very, and I love how you brought humor to it, but it was very educational, and it
Mhm.
brought up something that your post you made about the national and how
Yeah.
dealers approach women, right? And how you just how you should approach a woman, how you shouldn't approach a woman, really how you
Yep.
shouldn't a human being, right?
Yep.
It's sad you even have to
Exactly.
separate it. But the
Yeah.
part that had me laughing was the detective part, because I'm a
It's
detective too,
true.
though. It's very true. It's very true. But I have that part of woman in me. Like I
Yeah.
had that place. So that I was dying and crying, laughing that part. So I love how you brought humor to it. But when you
Yep.
experience it, it's not funny at all. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So can you talk a little bit about that right there, please?
Yeah. So I was talking with someone on Instagram too, because they're like, because I told them, I'm from the Midwest, I'm North Dakota, and they're like, "Oh, no wonder why you're so nice." Like it's that Midwest nice, and because naturally, I just kind of have um, I don't know, a little bit guarded in those situations. So I've gotten a really good RBF going on because I don't want to put up with any crap or be pushed around um, by men. Not to say men specifically, but in general, but mostly men when it's been come to card shops and stuff. And so I don't know. I think it helped with my stepdad being there. And then the first card shop I went to, it was a little intimidating, but they welcomed me and
Okay.
treated me like they would have treated any like a customer, like they would have treated anybody else. And so um it was kind of I don't know, it made it easy. And I think it was because I was younger too. I was like 10, 11, 12. There was an older uh guy who had a card shop for I don't know how many years that I found later, and he kind of like I don't know, he's just curious, and that was kind of how I got comfortable going into those situations with that. But then getting back into it though, um, a couple years ago, I felt really intimidated because I had been so far removed from that. I, I don't know. I just kind of don't want to put up with anyone's BS. So I make it known, and people have found me intimidating. So that helps. So I kind of play into that. So, so most of the time, I don't struggle so much with men because I got picked on all the time by older men for some reason. Like my neighbor they would just pick on me, and that's kind of where I got my sarcasm, defense mechanism. So I'm a little quick on things, so I can be probably more intimidating than the actual sports card guy. So, but yeah, getting back into it, it was intimidating because people know me. It's not a big town or city. And so, again, I was a closet collector for a couple of years. That's why I got onto Instagram so I could find other people. But the sports cave here, I went and Chris was just super nice, And so I haven't had to deal with that so much. Um, there are some guys that kind of I've taken advantage of them because they think I'm dumb. So I know there's been some situations like that, and I was like, I don't know, I don't have a problem with that. If you like, I know more than you probably know, and yes, I will take your card for that price. And yes,
Thank
I
you.
have sold it for more. So, um, yeah, it is intimidating, and so I feel more for the women and the stories that I've heard from them, and I've seen like with other women in other situations, not necessarily cars, but like friends of mine too. Um, in dealing with that because it's not just in sports cards, it's in
No,
other things,
it's in
like it's
other
in
things.
I go
It's
to the
everywhere.
car, I
Yeah.
go and I tell the guy, I'm like, hey, every time I accelerate, the temperature of my car goes up, my car engine goes up.
And he tries to give you
I've
4 new
no,
tires, huh?
oh no,
Yeah.
yeah, I just like I checked my oil, I checked the coolant, everything is fine. Why is it doing that? First thing he asked me, do you check if there's coolant? And I and I just don't have time for that. Luckily, the guy that knew me saw, I think he saw my reaction. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" But so it's not just sports cards, it's more than that. So
It is.
you just, I don't know, I'm used to it, so I'm ready for it, and it shouldn't have to be that way. And I know there's women that aren't like me, that they probably had it happen once and they're not in the hobby,
Exactly. Right.
and it just shouldn't matter, because it should be that you're a customer. If you have a table and you have a product, man, woman, child, they're a customer. And that's just kind of that's how I think it should be. And it shouldn't be like, oh, wow, you collect that. And like, yes, yes, I do. So I don't know. It's just kind of it's weird that it's still a thing. But I get it.
Yeah, yeah. So and shout out to all of the women who are who are you and all of the women who are making the hobby better,
Yeah.
right? Because they've experienced this, they've been brave enough to walk outside, right?
Yep.
Some people I know me. I'm uncomfortable leaving my own home.
Yeah.
If I have to, I was on quarantine long before COVID. Like
Oh, me
people
too. It was
long
great.
before COVID.
It
I've
was
been on
great.
quarantine since like 2013. I don't leave home. I'm so comfortable. Like I know how to go on vacation from
Yes.
here. I know how to escape my mind. I am so
Mm,
comfortable here. It's
mm-hmm.
crazy. So shout out to those people who are brave, to those women specifically who are brave
Yeah.
enough to go into these shows, go into these card shops, go
Yep.
onto these social media platforms as well
Hmm.
too, right? Because it's not
Yeah.
all great there as well.
Yeah. I love
And
what Sam's doing.
I
Women
love
of the
what Sam's
hobby.
doing. Yeah,
I don't remember
women
how
on
that's not though.
tops. There's women
Yep.
on tops. There's women of the hobby.
Yep.
Tanya F1. There's so many. There's Leighton.
Hmm.
There's Leighton ladies. There's so many
Yep.
ladies who. There's so many businesses who have ladies in positions of power, but it's not
Yeah.
enough. It's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough. And the way women are treated and valued
Oh yeah. There's
isn't isn't
still.
isn't there. So shout out to those
Yeah.
women who experience that and who are and then also experience it then share it, right? And then like you speak up on it, right? And now we're
Hmm.
educating, we're stepping up, and then you're holding us accountable as men, as human beings, to say,
Yeah.
hey, don't try that ish here, okay?
Yep.
Respect, value. It's a two-way street. I'm gonna honor you. You
Yeah.
gonna honor me, and let's get
Hmm.
this. Let's have fun together. Let's grow this hobby together. Let's get this money together. Let's do
Yeah.
whatever we got to do to have a great time, and
Yep.
that has to be done intentionally. There was a.
Yes.
I'm not going to say the person's name, but there was a survey that came out to my inbox, and it was saying, "May you please participate in this survey." Great guy, by the way, great guy, but I don't want
Hmm.
to say his name.
Yep.
He said, "When you participate in the survey, please pick your top. I can't remember if it was 10 or 20 cards out of these 200 cards, right?" And I looked through the cards, and 193 of the 200 were men,
Yeah.
right? And for me, in my mind, it's like, okay, I told him, I was like, respectfully, I cannot participate in this. One, my Alice Coachman card ain't on there. The women cards, the five women cards that I PC aren't on there, right? And
Hmm.
I only want to participate in things in this hobby that are done intentionally
Yeah.
towards diversity, whether it's for a cause, whether it's for a culture, whether it's for a specific demographic, whether it's for a group of people, whether it's for males, females. It has to be done
Cool.
intentionally. And I said, and like I said, it's a great guy, and he understood. It's
Hmm.
like, I can't participate. He said, well, what can
Yeah.
we do? He asked me, he said, well, Peter, what can we do next time to make it better? I said, put
Hmm.
50 women on there. I mean, it's a no
Put
brainer.
100 on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that, you could go through my chat. That's what I said. I said there needs
Yeah.
to be a survey where it's just 100 women or
Hmm.
200 women. Like then
Yeah.
people have to educate themselves. Wow, there are 200 women that are this great. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
there is plenty more, and they
Yep.
all have cards, and they date back to the 1850s. Why aren't we talking about the history of these women?
Yeah.
Right? Why do we
I
have so
agree.
many young girls struggling to identify who they are and what they can be? right? We've been that
Yeah.
for centuries and hundreds of years. So it's important to be intentional about it. It's important to tell those stories. And all the women who are navigating through the hobby today
Hmm.
are doing it in their own right. They're doing the same
Yep.
things that our ancestors did back in the 1800s,
Yeah.
1900s when they had to navigate. Women of all colors,
Hmm.
right? Women of all colors have had to struggle. There's always been ladders that they've had to climb and
Yep.
obstacles they've had to overcome. So
I
we
agree.
want to knock all those down in the hobby.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is just you have to be intentional until you don't have to be.
Right.
You just like uh someone posted something in our group chat that we had, and that I can't remember what product it was, but it must have had women in it. I think it was soccer or something.
Uh-huh.
And the guy was like, "Why are there women in there?" And what we need is for someone to call that out. Like if you're going to be intentional, you have to be all in. And it's like we got to whoever's breaking, if there's guys in those group chats, like call it out because it's just negativity that doesn't need to be part of it, you
Right.
know. And if you don't like that there's women in it, don't collect that product, whatever. But that just stuff like that doesn't need to be said, and it needs to be called out.
It does. It does. It does. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm happy. Yep. We all have to hold each other accountable,
Yeah.
right? Hold ourselves accountable and hold each other accountable too at the same time.
Hmm.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Mike Jones always taps in. He said, "Hey Angela, I could actually show it, can I?" Said,
Hey,
"Hey Angela, what's up, Pack?"
hey Mike.
Shout out, Sports Card Show, Ziggy. Cheers, Rip Pack and Slab. What's up, brother? Good evening. My man Double P Cartel here. Eyes on you while I prep for a show. Thank you for the convo. Thank you for your time and your presence, Cartel. We appreciate you, sir. Who else do we have here? Ziggy again. I can relate to that story. My brother is an Eagles fan because they beat my Skins in '87. So this is way back when you were
Yep.
telling about how you became a Packer fan. Okay, so that's how Ziggy became. Okay, all
That's
right.
funny.
Similar. So when you played video games, do
Hmm.
you always use the Packers?
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter
Yep.
what, no matter how good they are, you
Oh
Packers
yeah.
all the way.
But
Okay.
I'm that it doesn't matter how good the team is. It's the player,
Yeah.
controlling the game. So I'm pretty good.
Ooh.
Tell
Ooh,
you,
she said drop
Madden
y'all names.
Madden
She said drop y'all
2006,
live names
nobody
and
could beat me in
oh
Madden
six.
'06.
Ooh.
No one could.
Ooh. Mike Jones said awesome story. Awesome
Thanks.
story. Ziggy again. Hobby is a great name. Yeah, my pup's name is Hobby. Yeah. I have to clean up all the hobbies ish every
Nice.
single day. Isn't that crazy? I
Uh-huh.
clean up the hobbies ish every day.
Uh-huh.
Love my GSD. Groot, good GSD.
Uh-huh. German
Uh,
Shepherd. There we go.
hey. With the delays in product releases, Etienne will,
Etienne.
Etienne will have a regular season playing time before all of his rookie cards are released, and he missed his rookie season. Crazy.
Hmm.
Feel like
Oh
I should
yeah.
play some Jeopardy music for that one.
Yeah.
I do have a soundboard. I got to get that going for next time.
That'd be great, right? Those are
It
always fun.
right. It would be nice if they had a national out west. It would be nice, especially thinking that or knowing that
Hmm.
the national was started out west. Like the first
Yeah, that's
national,
what
I
I
believe the
thought.
first two were started out west. I believe. Yeah.
I
So
don't realize why. Yeah, I don't know why they don't have many out west, but
and it doesn't look like they're thinking about bringing any
yeah,
anytime soon. I believe it's going to be in Chicago, then Cleveland, back in Chicago, then somewhere else or something like that. I believe that's
not
the
Atlantic
lineup.
City, from what I've hopefully not back in Atlantic City.
And so, like I said, I am so comfortable being at home,
Yep.
Angela.
Yep.
Like I'll make skits and memes about
Yep.
being sad, but that's to appease the people who are really sad.
That like me who are sad.
Right, but like I want to be like. Don't get me wrong. I would
Yeah.
want to be there if I can snap my fingers. But at the same
Right.
time, even when even we went to national last year in Chicago,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But right before I get on a plane, like 2 3 days, and the day of, I always there's been times I backed out so much. I hate leaving home.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate leaving my family. And even before, I hate traveling alone.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? If I'm traveling with somebody, then it helps a lot, especially if
Helps.
it's my
Yeah.
family. But I hate traveling alone. I've backed out on so many card shows and trips out the state because I was
Ah,
going to go alone. Like,
right.
yeah, it's like I said, some stuff is still intimidating to me as a black male. So
Yeah.
I can only imagine how you feel
Yeah.
as a woman. And that's why for me, seeing people like Prism God, Wiz,
Hmm.
um, 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 Get Rich or Die Flipping,
Yep.
all these other people,
Oh
a
yeah,
sports
there's
card
not.
collector, Rolling with FD,
Yep.
um,
Well,
seeing them
even
out there.
like even collectibles. Now I guess there's a term. I have a friend I've gotten to know through GameStop who
Uh,
is like a Funko super collector, and he's black
hey,
from
hey,
Florida and stuff. And so it's like, uh, yeah, for a long time for me, like there's not a lot of color people that collected. And by my friends that, my 40-year-old men that are friends, it's white men,
right,
my entire life. And to be fair, I was raised by a bunch of white people, so I get along well with them.
right.
But yeah, so there's a little bit of a complex though, where it's like if you don't see it, it again, it's that permission to do it. And so that's been cool to see as well. Once I got on Instagram and in that community, is to see just even black men, not only women as well. So um, yeah, I
Yep.
can understand.
Yep, definitely, definitely. It's national. Let's see what else we got here. National in Anaheim would be sweet, even though I'm in the
Yes,
Midwest. That would be sweet.
that'd be nice.
Let's see. What else do we have? Mike Jones, Anaheim would be a great spot. Good call. Mike Aldridge said,
Mans,
man slapping 101.
mansplaining.
Mansplaining. Oh, I thought you said slapping.
Yep.
Oh, but this, yeah, that too, huh?
Yep. Oh,
I
thank you.
followed
Thanks,
Angela on
Mike.
Insta. Good. Yeah, yeah. Awesome cards, great content. New promoters of the national takeover in 2025, I think, and are open to moving
Mm,
it around. I
I'm
believe by
sure.
then they should be too. Right. Hopefully, this
Yeah.
all is speaking into existence. A lot of things have been changing. Did you
Yeah.
hear? I got a video last night sent to me,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I haven't seen it confirmed. I haven't been on Instagram a lot today. I'm doing a lot of cleaning. This is the first day in I don't know how many years where I'm without any of my family members. My
Oh,
two
wow.
oldest boys are with their mother,
Mhm.
and then my two youngest are with my fiance in Arizona with Rip, with Jive and the
Oh,
family.
okay.
We took a trip to Arizona. So I'm here home. I've just been cleaning, doing a whole bunch of
Chilling.
projects, trying to make sure that the house is perfect. And when she gets back, she doesn't have to do anything. But I got sent a
Aw.
message, and I got sent a message, and it said that Tops was cutting off GTS. And there's a video on YouTube about that
Hmm.
GTS distribution. So I don't know how
Yeah.
true it is or anything like that, but very
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah, just like the hobby's moving in a different direction. So
Yeah.
I can definitely see in 2025 the national being maybe even on the moon. Who
Yeah.
knows? Because we don't know who's gonna own.
Right.
Who
But
knows?
yeah, what do you feel about the changes that are happening? There's a lot of people who don't enjoy it. How
I
have you felt
feel
about it?
I feel the people who don't enjoy it, I understand them. Their feelings are validated.
Yep.
They're used to the
Oh yeah.
same thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're accustomed to something. They've added value
Mhm.
to something. They feel like that thing's being taken
Feels like
away
it's
for
their
them or
own.
changed. They
Yep.
feel like it's their own. Minus the entitlement, I understand it. Okay.
Yes.
When it
Yep.
comes with
Agreed.
entitlement, I can't relate to it. Other than
Yeah.
that, just the feeling and emotion of having something that you love being changed and you've
Yep.
shifted in a direction where you don't
Mhm.
know or you really
Nobody
just
likes
don't feel
change.
comfortable with. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But I love this change because,
Mhm.
man, Angela, I study the hobby like crazy, right? You like it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like I'm to the 1300s in the Ming Dynasty, to Egypt even before that, 800 AD, like to because there were times where okay, so we can say trading cards or
Mhm.
the trade card came into existence in the 1700s, right? Like
Okay.
that's all right. But if we look further back, while there weren't trading cards, there were actually playing cards. They had images of people on them. In the Ming Dynasty, they had these
Yep. That makes
cards
sense.
that were part of a game. But the reason why I equate them to trading cards is because the lower class used to use these cards as barter and as currency on in the streets, right, to buy food and
Oh.
and things like that. Yeah, so
Okay.
and that's a trading card,
Trading card.
right?
Yeah.
And when you look back at that action and that idea, it's all the way 800 AD, 500 AD. It takes
Yeah.
place in Africa on wooden stock. You know what I
Interesting.
mean? A hand carved wooden stock. So I always challenge myself to go further and
Mhm.
further back with the hobby.
Yeah.
So I love the change, and history repeats itself. While there's a lot of change going on, this is
Yep.
the same thing happening now that happened in the 1890s when Big Tobacco took over the hobby, they were a monopoly, right?
Oh,
They
yeah.
owned every tobacco company was owned by William Duke and Sons. The top, besides Leaf, which is a different Leaf than we know now, and there was
Yeah.
another tobacco company, which American tobacco company as well too. There were three big ones. William Duke and Sons owned like 12 of the major tobacco companies who all produce trading cards or postage stamps within their cards, right?
Hmm.
So that, and if you look, they scaled up, and the way they built their business was the same exact way all of these hobby companies have built their business, and it's the same way Fanatics is modeling their business. There's
Yeah.
even a quote from one of the William Duke and Sons about scaling up that Michael Rubin said in his CNN interview about Fanatics, and it was just a coincidence that he said that quote, but I have it
Hmm.
written on my board. So I'm all for change. I've been in favor of change long before people can go on any a podcast I've done long before we knew Fanatics or anybody knew Fanatics was taking over.
Yeah.
I advocate for something new blood in the
Yeah.
hobby, something new because the hobby, the way it has been the same for 150 years. If
Yeah.
we add more, if we reach a new demographic, we can really add sustainable value with all these hype
Yeah.
things going on. If we go back and retell the stories that have been either lost or omitted or purposely omitted, right? Then
Hmm.
we can bring more people in at the same time, create more
Yeah.
communities and things like that, and add more value. You know what I
I agree.
mean? So for me,
Yeah.
with Fanatics taking over, I love it. I love it too because I don't know the businessman Michael Rubin is, but I know the
Right.
human Michael Rubin is, and I know how he used his privilege the minute that he held a mirror up in his face and he was in a situation where he said, "I have a
Hmm.
lot of influence, I have a lot of money, I have a lot of power, I have a lot of people with power, money, and influence. I can get
Yep.
them to help this black community with a specific, this black and brown community, this demographic with a specific cause." And he
Yeah.
did that, and he's doing that. So for that in itself, I can care less if I stop collecting. I'm always going to have an appreciation for the you man, and
Cool.
I believe that that you man, that sweat and that blood will bleed out into his business in many ways, and that humans will want to model that. In
Hmm.
many ways at the same time, and learn, because we all have a privilege first and foremost. Yes, there's white
Yeah.
privilege, but we all have a privilege. I grew up with both my mother and my father in my life. When
Hmm.
I was Angela, when I was a kid, I went to a private school from preschool to
Wow.
high through 12th grade. I went to that's a privilege. All right. I
Yes.
didn't know it was a privilege till I was an adult and understood what privileges are.
Right.
I thought every kid went to school with a lunch pail and a note that said, "I love you, son." Right. It wasn't until I started working with kids at 18, 19 that I said, "Wow, these kids don't eat lunch." That's how
Yeah.
naive and ignorant I was. So it's not like I got it all the time. I didn't have a silver spoon. My parents worked 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs.
Hmm.
My mom was never home on the holidays. You know what I mean? She worked
Right.
every day. When she came home, she was so fed up with the people at her work treating her less than a woman, less than a human, that she would take it out on us. She didn't know. She was a first time mother.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. That's crazy.
like I said, I had my own traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Shout out my mom, though. I love my mom. Me and my
Yeah.
mom have therapeutic conferences all the time. You know what I mean?
Good.
With each other, and we understand. You know what
That's
I
good.
mean? And she treats my kids 3 million times better than she ever
Oh,
treated
that's
us.
how
So,
it always works. It always works
right?
that way.
But I'm excited about Fanatics. Am I gonna like
Yeah.
everything about it? No, nobody's not gonna like everything. I'm interested. I'm
Yeah.
interested to see where it's going. But at the end of the day, I can care less with love, because
Hmm.
with our mission and our vision, it doesn't matter who's at the helm. They cannot
Yeah.
stop us from creating more diverse communities. They
Hmm.
cannot stop us for advocating for others. They cannot stop us from educating children with financial literacy, with
Yep.
entrepreneurship, with empathy, with equity, with engagement, with entertainment, with all these opportunities that the hobby has that our communities don't know about, that we can use as bait to teach skills, life skills. You know, like you said,
Right.
even the skill of bonding with somebody, that's a life skill.
Yeah.
Even the skill of being while it may be bullying, while it may be abuse, it may be taunting, it may be teasing, whatever you call it, right? Getting it, being um bullied and picked on by men or whoever's being built, it builds something at times, right? It builds this
Yeah.
character, or it doesn't. It has some kind of reaction. You know what I
Right.
mean? And we want to be intentional about making sure when we make people feel and think, it's the same exact way you did with that video you did about national. Like
Yeah.
we want to be serious. We want you to laugh, right? But at the
Yep.
same time, we want to educate you, like, this is really going on. This is
Yeah.
happening. And no matter who's in charge, they can't stop us from doing that. And
It's
that's
true.
why I love being in the position we are. We haven't
Hmm.
sold a card for profit yet. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like we've done it in the
Right.
past, but like since we've been content
That's not your
creators or
goal.
influencers in the hobby, that's not our goal. Will we do it?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, everybody does it. And like you said, that's a dream of mine. I
Mhm.
look up the is like I don't want to play in the NBA anymore. I want to
Mhm.
travel like them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And sell cards and buy and trade. That's on my
Yeah.
bucket list because they make it look so cool and possible. But at the
Right.
same time, I have a career that I've worked hard and long for, and I'm at the moment, knock on
Yep.
wood, I'm secure in a lot of communities because of the work I've done over the past 20 plus years. You know what I mean? And I
Yep.
would. That's where I want to continue doing it and just copy that and bring it into anywhere else. So
Right.
that's our mission. So I'm comfortable with Fanatics doing anything they want to
Yeah.
do. Hopefully they're a part of this of everybody's involvement, which I think they are.
Right.
I think the people that are hesitant and don't like change, I don't think Fanatics is going to change too much of it that's going to upset them. I think the
Right. That's
communities
not
are
the
still going
goal.
to exist. Yeah, that's not the goal. I
Yeah.
think they just want more people and they
'Cause
want
you're
everything. Yeah.
right. But I mean, I think it's not gonna matter because we're here because of the people at this point. Like no matter what it changes, I still you're gonna find people who agree with you or don't agree with you, and hang out with those who agree with you and you like and enjoy being around. And if you don't like the loud breakers who jump into trash cans, who cares?
Who cares? It's not for you.
Like,
There's a
don't
community
watch it,
for them though. Yeah,
like who
don't watch
cares?
it.
It's like
Somebody does like them though.
that's what
Yeah.
I don't like is like I mean things have to change. You like have to change. You adapt or you die. And for me in the 90s, early 2000s, like it was the same and they were printing cards like it was money, and you know what? People left. The community wasn't there, and now there's just a bigger community, and I like that because I found people that I can relate to, which is why I got onto Instagram. This is my like I have my personal Instagram, and I started a card Instagram just to get to know people. Um, and I hate my Insta handle, the card collector girl, because the only reason I did it is knowing going into the being back in the hobby, everyone's gonna assume I'm a man.
What's
So
up, man? Hey, bruh. What's up, bro? Thanks, bro.
so and I don't like showing my face a lot. I don't know. I'm an introvert by nature and I don't like attention. So I
Right.
don't so I figured I was like, let's just put the card collector girl. No one else had it. So and hopefully I would find, and the other goal too was to find other women that collected and to create that community. And so yeah, I'm not afraid of the change. As long as we can still collect cards and trade cards and talk, and I can go to my local card shop and hang out there once in a while too, like who cares?
Well, thank you for being an introvert and showing your face because no,
Yes.
it's empowering. It's
Yeah.
empowering to me, right? Because there's a lot of
Mhm.
times because I've been that guy and I've been that person where I've sold cards and I don't want to show my hand. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Before in the past, or I don't want people to know because I know what has happened. I've had that
Hmm.
reaction before. I've had that action done to me before. Even
Yeah.
once they see my name is Peter, but then when they see my face, they're like, "Oh, that's Peter, huh?
Yep.
Okay, that's what Peter looks like."
Yes, I know. I know that feeling. It's like
So yeah, so for and then I see it all the time, and like there are collectors who don't show their face for whatever reason, but a lot
hmm
of times it's because they don't want to get you know what I'm saying, they don't want to get singled
yeah,
out
it's
or they don't want to get judged, they don't want to
you're
get
being
labeled.
vulnerable. It's hard to be
Yeah.
vulnerable, especially on social media. And I get that, I respect that, and I don't know. I don't like attention. I don't like selfies.
Hmm.
That kind of stuff. That's just kind of who I am. But yeah, and I don't. Yeah, I don't
But
know.
it's empowering.
But
It's
here I am.
empowering to see. It's empowering to see
Yeah.
you. I know it's empowering for me, so I could just imagine women, younger women, the black women. Why it's
Hmm.
okay. It's cool
Yeah.
to do it in whatever way it is for me. Even if I show my face 0% of the time, it's okay for me to still be in
Yeah.
this space and add value. It's oh yeah, heck
Yeah.
yeah, it is. Of course it is. It's okay. And that's what
Yep.
people need to know and hear, though. Like you said, we need to call that out
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know it unless you tell me or make me feel that way. Because
Hmm.
otherwise, it may feel or come across the opposite. So I want to make sure we're all intentional, right?
Yep.
And letting people know, no, you're welcome here. It's okay to not have a million
Yeah.
dollar car. It's okay to
Yep.
not.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's why I wanted to share. I'm like, I'm not gonna have $1 million cards, and so I wanted. like enjoy the cards you have, graded or ungraded. Some look better graded, some you prefer raw, and that's cool too. So it's like, yeah, I just wanted a place to share my collection, and I would hope to early on I kind of saw I was like, people need to share whatever it is, not the $1,000+ card that they flipped or picked up or whatever, the whole flex thing. And so um, I think you should flex your collection no matter what it looks like, because that's part. I think our personalities come out in our collection, and so uh, yeah, that's kind of why I'm in it and do what I do, and I've and to get to know people too. So which was kind of easy for me. It feels like I enjoy the whole Instagram thing because I was on like, message boards way back, when those were a thing for like a band. I helped moderate one. And so like not seeing people and interacting and chatting with them, I'm not afraid to do. In person, I'm more so I don't like meeting new people in person, but on the internet, like I love this. It just feels like,
Yeah.
and you play video games and you talk to people all the time, like it's like you're an introvert but an extrovert when you're
Right.
a gamer,
Right. Right.
you
Right.
know. So, yeah, I like it.
Cool, cool. Mike Jones said it's Fanatics that's cutting out GTS. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Fanatics,
was kind of
Tops,
wondering.
Fanatics.
Yeah,
Yeah, same thing, same
yeah,
difference. Yeah, Fanatics cutting out. Okay. Mike Aldridge asks, curious as to both of your thoughts on music and entertainment cards.
like
Um,
cards, like
like I think that
Justin Bieber cards,
yeah,
or
Bieber
just like
calls are like Jay
entertainment.
Z or
Jay
maybe
Z.
acting and
I don't know
music,
why I said
anything that
Justin
falls under
Bieber, but
entertainment. I actually have a Justin Bieber card. Shout out
I
Yam
kind
Wax.
of, yeah, I
He
kind of
gave
want
me a
one.
Justin Bieber. I actually have it here, Justin Bieber slab. I
Yeah.
think. Oh no, a card, a Justin Bieber and Drake card. I
Oh yeah,
honestly,
that one.
I don't collect them.
Yeah.
I don't collect them. I think they're cool.
Yep.
I believe there's a community. Obviously, there's a community that values them just as much as we
Yeah.
value anything that we place monetary or any type of other value on,
For me,
right?
that's kind of new still, so I don't know. I used to collect, CDs, or autographs, or if you get an autograph CD for like musicians or singers and stuff. And then
Right.
uh, I didn't really get into collecting like the Marvel kind of stuff until like last year. Like I knew those the cards, trading cards, like the Harry Potter. They put out those movie trading cards. I don't know. I never really got into those, but there's some cool stuff out there. Uh, it's just I never got into it.
You know what, Mike? I feel there's not enough of them for me. I feel like if there
Yeah.
were more, maybe I'd be into it.
Hmm.
Like if they had a Tops Boy or a Power trading card set. I'd what? I'd be ripping all
Yes.
day. Like my lady, she likes Stranger Things, and back when season
Oh
one, she
yeah,
used to
I'm
rip Stranger
obsessed.
Things. So I was thinking at first, no, it doesn't interest me, but no, it interests me. It just has to be what I like. Or if my favorite movies
Yep.
from back in the day had cards, oh, I'd be ripping that all day if they brought those back
Yeah.
out. You know what I mean? They'd get my money for sure just for the nostalgia and to see those images, those scenes on card and on stock
Mhm.
with a short print on it to make me feel
Yep.
like it's that much more less of
Right. That's
that
the thing.
piece of paper.
Yes. Yeah, I like the idea of it because it reaches a broader audience. But they've been making them for decades.
Yeah, they have for
It's
decades. It's
just
not what I
you
like.
don't.
I mean, they stuff that I
Yeah.
like, not what I love all the time. Like
Right.
I want Boys in the Hood, Above the Rim. I want no, I used to collect Lion King. I ain't gonna lie,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's when I was too old because it was my
Yes.
brother. It was Slabby. He was
Yep.
younger when I was collecting cards. He was collecting Power Rangers and Lion King,
Yep.
but I didn't want to do Power Rangers because it was too kiddie for me. But Lion
Right.
King to me
Lion
wasn't no
King.
kiddie
That's
movie.
what. No, that
Nah,
wasn't.
Lion King not
There's
a
like
kiddie movie.
there's a lot
You
of
got
less like life happens in that movie.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I had to be I had to be in junior high collecting Lion King cards. That's a true fact, right? Junior high collecting Lion King cards. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yep.
So
Fact.
I think it's great because it gives something for other people who don't do like sports cards, and if they're like kind of getting into, say someone has a partner or whatever and they like basketball, football, but they're not into it, and they're like, oh, Kim Kardashian, whatever, Justin Bieber, like they see that, that's just another way to communicate and connect. So I think it's
And,
cool.
Yep, and that's the beautiful part about the hobby, and it's just a hobby where you're allowed to connect and build relationships and have all these feelings and exchanges of energy. But I highly promote and advise people to find if specifically the cards isn't your hobby, man, make
Yeah.
sure you're finding those connections and
Hmm.
those therapeutic ways and feelings that you get from whatever
Yeah.
hobby that you do, because that's important for
Yep.
all of us, is to find some things that we
Just make sure you
love and that we
enjoy
want to
it.
share. Yeah, and enjoy it. Whatever it is,
Hmm.
collecting shoes. I collect toys more than I collect cards. Like I used to I had a card budget for the last 2 years because Black Panther movie was like an idol. But now that it's
Oh yeah.
dropping in a few months, it's like the budget is going back to toys now. There's no card
Yep.
budget whatsoever. I still look at cards every day. I
Yep.
still look at the hobby. I still love it same way I look at the toys. But my budget, if I do both, I won't have a home. I won't have any kids.
Oh.
I won't have a
I want
family.
kids.
They'll leave me. Everybody will leave. If I
Yep.
so I have to pick and choose. Feed the kids and then pick a hobby, or don't
Yes.
feed the kids and pick two hobbies. So I have
That's
to pick
awesome.
one and put the other to the side, but I
Right.
can still be in it without having to. That's what I love about making music about the hobby is
Hmm.
we can still be a part of it and tell stories and collect and do these things and create feelings and emotions through our content, whether it's skits,
Yep.
memes, music, without having to
Hmm.
actually buy a card. You know what I mean? Like I said, we
Right.
can still feel like we're adding value. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
monetary value.
Yep.
If it made somebody laugh or smile, that's important. We should
No,
be trying to
that's.
make
I
people
love
laugh or
that.
smile without memes, right? We should
Yeah.
be asking people how they're doing. Really, we should be really calling people on the phone and checking on their mental well-being. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because that's serious. So for for these cards to be able to not only educate but give that release
Hmm.
of energy is amazing, and
Yeah.
it's nothing. It's nothing I'm gonna let go of anytime soon, especially because I keep on meeting so many awesome people. I have a lot
Hmm.
of not so awesome experiences and stories, but
Yeah.
I know the change is going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yep.
While sometimes it hurts and it's discouraging, it's nothing that
There's
makes me
growing
want to quit.
pains.
Yeah,
Anytime
growing
something
pains.
grows, there's growing
Yeah,
pains, and
yeah,
it's just all
yeah. I
part
like
of
to.
it.
Yeah, I like to identify with my feelings. I do get sad
Yeah.
sometimes. It does
Yeah.
hurt sometimes. Some of the things I see and don't see, and people I don't see on stages, and I don't see adding value. Right, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I know, hey, their time is coming. That will happen. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not those people's job to give them value. Maybe it's our job in our community. We have to play our
Right.
part, right? And we have to honor everybody for the value that they add. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hold that mirror up to my face every single day and get
Yeah.
better.
And no, yeah, no matter what, you just gotta work within your sphere of
Yeah,
people and your groups and all that, and um, don't have to reach everybody all at once. So, but no, I love it. It's
one at a
cool.
time. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Angela, I don't want to keep you too much. I can really talk forever and ever and ever. It's one of the things I love doing about my job because
Yep.
I'm the dean in the K through 8, and
Yep.
whenever I get called into a classroom, it's not a good thing,
Oh no.
right? So
Yep.
I love it because the teachers love it too, because I just get to lecture, right? And I just
Yes.
get to talk and walk around, and they know it. Sometimes I get to act, right? And they don't know
Yeah.
when I'm
Yep.
acting or when I'm not acting, because I might 10 times out of 10 if I'm crying, I'm not acting. So when they see
Okay.
me
Okay.
crying, there's times where I'll go in there and I cry because it's sad, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It hurts, you right?
Yeah.
But other times I have to make them feel a certain way, and my lectures make them feel.
Hmm.
So I love talking and hearing. I love
That's great.
listening. I love learning. I love conversations. Like you said, I love this engagement. I love
Yeah.
being able to not have to go 3,000 or 300 miles away to meet you and
Yes.
talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, while I still want that to happen, this
Right.
in the interim is so fulfilling for me and so
Awesome.
inspiring and motivating for me. So I know it's going to be, I promise you, I start school in 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Teachers and staff are back on campus Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, students are back on campus. I promise you, there are going to be students that come up to me and talk about this interview,
Cool.
and
That'd be
that's like
great. That's awesome.
it's the best thing in the world. So thank
Love
you for
that.
taking the time, making the time.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing, Angela.
Yeah. Thanks for
Um,
having me. This is fun.
yeah,
So
if
appreciate
you
it.
can leave, yeah. Well, before we go,
Okay.
I want you to drop some wisdom on somebody. I'm gonna talk for like 30 seconds so you can
Okay.
think, right?
Okay.
Because I want the young women, the ladies, the young men, the people
Mhm.
who identify as he, she, they, and them
Mhm.
to leave with something here, right?
Okay.
Because we've both felt left out, we've both felt pushed out, as many people have, not only in this space but other spaces, right?
Yeah.
So, what are one thing or a few things or anything that you would like to tell somebody who's having a difficult time feeling comfortable someplace that they want to be? Or even if they, sometimes I don't want to be somewhere, but if you
Mhm.
tell, I'm a tourist, so if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm just stubborn like that. Like I just like
Yeah.
doing stuff. So what's some words of endearment and encouragement you would give the next human being, maybe traveling in the same shadow or footsteps?
Um, like find like whatever you love and enjoy, whether it's hobbies, um, sports or anything like that. Find those people. Like you have to be very intentional, especially as you get older. I um basically reverted to my 12-year-old self, but
Hmm.
because my friends, the people I was around, I very much, just kind of meld to whatever their lifestyle is, what they're interested in, and I was unhappy. I realized, and the
Mm.
first thing I did, I was like, the times I had fun growing up, and now as an adult is like when I hang out with my brother and we're playing video games because he was still did that after, as an adult, and so I bought a PS4 and I got back into that. And then um, sports cards and all of that too was like that. I enjoyed that so much when I was young that it made me so happy to hear Gary V just bring it up once and me kind of just start diving into it. And I was like, just whatever it is you are interested in makes you happy, do it and find people that are on the same page because it's exhausting, trying to keep up with other people's interests, and it's way less fulfilling. And so, and I know that's hard sometimes, but we do live in a world now where you and I are chatting about, something we both have an interest in. And so, I don't know, just however you can find that outlet, do it.
Facts.
Do it.
Facts.
And be
There we go.
yourself. Give permission to just like be yourself because that way you get rid of the people who don't enjoy that because that's way more freeing is to find people who love you for who you are. And so if those people aren't in your corner, then it might be lonely, but it's well worth it finding people who like you can just meld with and mesh with. So I don't know. That's my biggest take right now.
Hey, thank you. That's wisdom right there. That's wisdom right there. Thank you. Thank you for that. That
Awesome.
even that
Thanks,
even helped.
Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for real.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all can find Angela at the Card Collector Girl, right? Or at Card
Yes.
Collector Girl, or
The
the Card
the
Collector,
card collector girl.
the Card Collector for now until she changes it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Until yeah,
until
sometime in the
I
future.
it won't matter, like everyone will know that I'm a woman. So
Yeah, next time we talk, I want to dive deeper into that, and
yeah.
we'll do it next because what I'm doing this year at school
Hmm.
is I'm implementing a lot of my students into this. They're going to have
Cool.
their own podcast, they're going to have
Oh,
their own
that's so
radio
cool.
topics, and I have a community of students who actually collect
Hmm.
females and males, he, she, they, and them,
Yep.
right? Who collect, like I like to say. Fish, dogs, frogs, he, she, they, and them. All right, cats, dogs, frogs, he, she, they, and them. Everybody,
Yep.
and they want to add value to this space too. So I want to talk
Awesome.
about identification, maybe, right? Because we
Hmm.
have students, identification not only falls with our tags, right? It
Yep.
falls as us and who we are and who we identify as, what we identify as,
Yeah.
what we want people to identify as, right?
Hmm.
Us as. So I think that's a cool conversation that we could
Very cool.
talk about. I can prep one of my
Yeah, I'd love
younger
that.
students up for, and then we can talk about that and lead into that. That's dope right there. I'm gonna write that
Yeah,
down.
I would
Yeah.
love that.
Bet, bet. Well, Angela, again, thank
All
you for
right.
your time. On behalf of Rip
Yes.
Pack and Slab, my brothers aren't here. They're working on vacation. Whenever you see me, it's always all three of us. All three of us are huge fans of you. Whenever
Awesome.
anything I scroll, I make them scroll too. I send it to them, whether they've seen it, they've talked about it. So we want to give you your flowers. Thank you for
Thank
everything
you.
you do. Again, thank you for showing your face.
Yeah,
Thank you for bringing your energy, your smile. Um,
appreciate it.
yeah, I know the hobby and a bunch of different communities love you and appreciate you and value you
Thank
as
you.
well, and they'll
Appreciate
continue
that.
to. Everybody, y'all know where to reach her at. Till later on, Angela, I'm going to talk to you for
Yes.
like 20 seconds after this, and then I'm going to let you go.
Great.
Everybody else, thank you. Talk to y'all later. Peace.